Welcome to Workshop Topics. This episode is all about a Stuart 504 boiler bought via eBay. So why is there a beam engine running at the front of it? Well, it's running very well. Just listen how quiet it is. That's enough of that. Here's the 504 boiler that I bought via eBay. The Stuart 504 boiler is the largest of the 500 range of model steam boilers. I've owned quite a few of these over the years, and I thought it was about time I bought another one. Here's a special twin methylated spirit burner. In recent years, methylated spirit burners have gone out of fashion and everyone's using gas burners. It's quite surprising when you feel the amount of heat that comes out of a methylated spirit burner. When I turn the boiler over to look underneath, here you see the tubes. There are 7 of them, and 6 of these are just water tubes that go into the boiler and straight out again, but the centre one is very different. This centre tube is a superheater pipe. One end of the superheater pipe goes into the boiler and it's long enough to pick up steam right from the top of the boiler. Then the steam travels along here, then the pipe disappears back into the boiler shell, where it's silver soldered to the bush into which the steam outlet tap screws. You have to be slightly careful with the 500 series of boilers because they were originally lined with asbestos. But at some time in the past, the asbestos has been replaced with a modern equivalent on this boiler. I don't know what it is about these 504 boilers, there's just something good about them. Because it's a water tube boiler and the shell is 3.5 inches in diameter, it holds plenty of water. This is the water gauge and the top plug isn't original, but I can live with that if it doesn't leak. In case you wonder what I'm doing at the moment, I'm removing the remnants of some PTFE tape from around the plug. Time to have a look at the burner. As I mentioned earlier, this is a methylated spirit burner. You fill the tank with methylated spirit, or denatured alcohol or whatever you call it. Anyway, this stuff's purple. I'm going to fill the tank to test the burner. You have to be careful when using methylated spirit burners, because if when you're filling it, like I'm doing here, you slop it all over the place, all over the bench, that will be fine until you light the burner, then the entire bench goes up in flames. Time for a health and safety warning. It's definitely not a good idea to set yourself on fire when playing with model steam engine burners. Also, I don't know what the carbon monoxide level is going to be like from a spirit burner. I think it's slightly better than gas, but I'm not sure about that. I'm testing this burner in the outer part of my workshop, right by a wide open door, and also it is on my brazing hearth, and that won't catch fire anytime soon. As I mentioned earlier, I've had a few 504 boilers, and I do find that these burners vary slightly. Methylated spirit is very volatile, it evaporates quickly, and I can illustrate this by showing it happening. Look at this, evaporation. There seems to be a bit of a problem with this particular methylated spirit burner. Normally if I did this, methylated spirit would pour out of the slots and drip on the bench. Eventually I managed to get it to light, and as you can see, the flame is not exactly clean. So this is contaminated. Often the incorrect fuel is used in a methylated spirit burner. Liquids such as lighter fuel, also known as naphtha, kerosene, paraffin, or diesel must not be used in a methylated spirit burner. The clue is in the name. This is a spirit burner, and at some time in the past this has been fed with something other than spirit. The big disadvantage with spirit burners is the non-controllability of the heat source. Once it's lit, it burns ferociously. With a gas burner, you would just turn the gas pressure down for less heat. This is the start of the hydraulic test on the boiler. Before steaming any steam boiler that you buy from eBay or anywhere else, you need to verify that it is good as a pressure vessel. And if you want to run the boiler in public, you will need a boiler certificate. At the moment I'm filling the boiler right to the top using this small funnel. I'm not going to go through the full process of hydraulically testing a boiler. I've made quite a few videos about doing this in the past. All you do is fill it right to the top with water so there's no air in there at all, and then pump it up to twice working pressure, which for a 504 boiler is 120 pounds per square inch. The working steam pressure on a 504 boiler is 60 pounds per square inch. After the hydraulic test, which it passed with flying colours, I drained out some of the water. Now you can see at the top of the water gauge there's some air at the top of the glass. Here I'm refitting the safety valve, not forgetting a washer. Here's a close-up of the water level, which is fine. The next part of the job is to quickly push the burner underneath the boiler. I've slowed this clip down so you can see that the burner is not burning properly. The end of the burner is not even lit. With these double burners though, there's so much heat that even though only half of the burners actually alight, there will still be more than enough heat to raise steam in this boiler for the test. I'm going to lift the boiler off the burner to have a look how it's doing. Not so well really, there's only flames coming out of 3.5 of the slots. I'll put the boiler back over the 3.5 slot burner and admire the nut that I made for the outlet tap, as this was missing when I bought it. After a while the boiler's starting to get hot, and as I open the steam tap, a small amount of steam issues forth. I'll just correct that statement before everyone else corrects it. That is not steam coming out of the tap, it's water vapour, and at the moment a lot of water. There is no pressure showing on the gauge yet. I wonder if the gauge is broken. When I first bought this boiler, the pressure gauge siphon was very badly bent. The first thing I did was to straighten it out. Thankfully though, even though the siphon was bent, the pressure gauge is working fine. And now, in no time at all, there's 10 pounds per square inch in there. As I said earlier, this is not steam issuing forth from the tap. It's a mixture of water vapour and water. Real steam at source is an invisible gas. Many model steam boilers will prime when you first run them. This can be caused by the products of the silver soldering process, contaminating the inside of the boiler, or if they've got quite a lot of limescale inside. If you watch my videos regularly, you will know that I don't really like Stuart safety valves, except for this one. That doesn't make the usual horrible noise and just blows off with a gentle pop. As I open the steam valve now, as the steam is a lot hotter at 60 pounds per square inch, there's not as much water coming out. Now and again there's a bit. Very shortly I'm going to be dismantling this boiler because I want to clean up the boiler shell. And before I clean up the boiler shell and polish it, I'm going to put the entire boiler shell in my acid bath. This will take care of any impurities inside the boiler. All I'm doing at the moment really is having a play. I opened the steam valve fully and left it open to see how quickly the pressure dropped. And it didn't take long for the pressure to go from 60 pounds per square inch down to 20 pounds per square inch. You just see me put my hand into a jet of steam. No, I'm not mad, well maybe a little. I'm just illustrating the fact that it isn't very hot, particularly when you've got a flame like this, and the pressure is only at 20 pounds per square inch. Inside these two tubes are long wicks, and I have a sneaking feeling that these have been replaced, and for some reason the wick material is too densely packed in there. I'm using a craft knife in the slots just to see what happens, and as you can see, when I press in the slots with the craft knife, immediately that part of the slot starts to burn. I think I'll look into this in detail, as I'm curious as to why it's not working very well. Without the burner under the boiler, the pressure eventually drops down to nothing. What's so good about these Stuart 504 boilers? Well, they're just good. You have to play with one to appreciate one. They've been out of production for many years, but the current owners of Stuart models have put them back into production. You can buy them brand new again. But I'm quite happy with this one. I will put it to good use. And that's it for now. Thanks for watching, and I hope you found it useful. Please take the time to visit my Mainsteam Models website. Click on the section of the website that says Video Playlists. And by doing that, you will find it very easy to find other videos that you may like to watch.